Happy Easter, folks. Hope you're doing well, enjoying time with friends and family. And quite frankly, I hope you're actually not watching this and actually getting some time for yourself, the people you love, and then those who are celebrating the holiday. Hope you had some great time to take the time to remember Jesus and all that he brought to this world. And those who don't celebrate, well, again, as I said, hope it was a great time with family. But on that note, when you get time to be by yourself, when you get time to be on your own and watch this video, holy smokes, what a weekend it has been. Obviously, yesterday, Mark Carney and the Liberal Party dropped their costed platform, and people were kind of like, huh? What am I reading here? This is deja vu on steroids. This is Justin Trudeau, but worse. What is even this platform? Oh, it's because we're in crisis. That was the explanation, and that was the talk of the town. It was like, Mark Carney really loves the spending the money, and that we'll be talking about that mainly today and the response that we've been seeing. And quite frankly, there is intel that has come out from a reporter at National Post, which will get your eyes popping of what is currently going on and how this platform and costing plan came to be. But before we get into that, take the time to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. The likes really increase the engagement. The sharing helps get the message out. And subscribing, as I said, well, it helps the channel to grow and helps me, well, I don't know, makes me feel better, I'll be honest. So if you can do that, it means the world. Now let's get in the show. Naturally, with the costing platform coming out as it did yesterday, the natural comparison was Justin Trudeau to 2015 and Mark Carney 2025. And what was Justin Trudeau's promise? Well, we're going to run a reasonable deficit for 3 years, and then we'll balance the budget in the fourth year. That was the goal. It'll be $10 billion a year, just a $35 billion deficit. It'll be all good, no questions asked. We'll be okay. That was the promise. And then Mark Carney, 2025 costing platform, we're going to run a deficit for 3-4 years, and then we'll balance the budget afterwards. Heard this before. Again, they keep telling us he's not like Justin, but he's running on the exact same platform that Justin did in 2015. Rather odd. However, let's look back at Justin's promise back in 2015, shall we? It's fun. We'll do some fun stuff together. 2015, he receives a balanced budget. 2016, 2017, he promises $10 billion. The second year, $10 billion. And the third year, $5 to $6 billion. For a total of $26 billion in deficit spending. And then promises by 2019, 2020, we will have a balanced budget. Then what actually happened here in the right-hand column? Well, they ran a $19 billion deficit, $19 billion deficit in the second year, a $14 billion deficit in the third year, for a total of close to $40 billion deficit. And that was before COVID. That was what you got. That's what Justin Trudeau did. And he promised, oh, we'll return to a balanced budget. Well, we never got that balanced budget. And in fact, things only got worse, obviously, as the decisions they made during COVID to continue the inflationary spending. That is what we got. And so Mark Carney coming out in somewhat similar fashion with his costed platform, with $130 billion in new spending with no timeline to balance the budget. Oh, baby. Mark Carney-led government will spend $130 billion on new measures over the next 4 years with no timeline to balance the federal budget, according to the costed Liberal platform released on Saturday. Carney said at a Saturday morning announcement in Whitby, Ontario, that keeping the spending tabs open was part of the standing up to U.S. President Donald Trump. The Liberal Party always needs a crisis in order to spend more of your money and drive down the value of your dollar and drive up the cost of prices. This is how they operate. This is the Liberal Party of Canada, folks. This is what they do. It doesn't matter who's in power. Justin Trudeau, oh, modest deficit, we'll get back to balanced budgets. Never happened. Ruined us in the process. Took a $650 billion country deficit to close to $1 trillion by the time he left. And Mark Carney wants to add to that because Donald Trump is such a threat. And this obviously got the news yesterday. It got everyone talking. People were frustrated, didn't know what was like, come on, what are we doing here? It's the exact same thing, but worse. What are we doing here? And Mr. Toby Luca, CEO of Shopify, had this to say about it. It says, Mark Carney is a great candidate. The Liberal Party is lucky to have him. But after the platform release today, it's clear the party is still in control. It commits Canada to continued economic decline. Progress happens in zigs and zags. We tried this for 10 years. It's time to zag. And you can disagree with some of that post, but the reality is he's right. It's clear that the party is in control because they're making the same promises that Justin Trudeau did in 2015. Promised deficits. That was the issue. is that's the thing I want us to get a hold of here. He promised deficits to be able to grow the economy. That's what he wanted to do. He promised $26 billion in deficit spending. Over doubled that promise. So if Mark Carney here is promising $130 billion, you know it's going to be more than that, which, as I said, is making Trudeau look like child's play. Promising a $25 billion deficit versus now promising a $130 billion deficit. Over 5 times as much as Justin Trudeau promised in 2015. And even then, I remember looking at my TV when he promised that and said, you are stinking crazy. Yet here we are. But don't worry, Mark Carney in French promises it's okay, it's all right. I'm an economist.
Are you going to spend as much as Mr. Trudeau? No, this is a major change when it comes to... We use the word spending, but in fact, this is not spending. Most of these amounts listed in our platform are actually investments. These are not operational expenditures. These are expenditures that will create assets, particularly in the private sector, but these are expenditures that will drive growth. And this is a costed platform, a very cautious and prudent platform, because we are not adding expenditures except to drive growth in private investment. And I know, I'm an economist, I know that with an investment of $500 billion, the economic growth rate will rise.
You heard this before, right? This is the exact same wording that Justin Trudeau used in 2015. Don't worry, we're going to spend money in order for it to drive investment into the country, and it will bring more to the economy. It's the exact same promise. Do you really want to go down that roller coaster at an even worse rate? Really? Really? But this is the thing. We keep seeing these similarities between Justin Trudeau and Mark Carney's platform, and we keep calling it out, saying, it's not really looking much different. Only feels different because we have 10 years of separation from what the promises were from Trudeau in 2015 versus Mark Carney now. But it feels like and looking like the exact same thing. But don't worry, Carney and the Liberals keep pushing on this idea that he's not like Justin Trudeau. And this was the big win from the left side of Mark Carney sticking it to Poilievre in the debate, if you remember this.
Okay. I know it may be difficult, Mr. Poilievre. You spent years running against Justin Trudeau on the carbon tax, and they're both gone. Okay, they're both gone. And we're in a new impersonation of them with the same policies tonight. Very different. Look, I'm a very different person from Justin Trudeau. Focus is on results. Were you his economic advisor? How to drive results in the housing market.
But you remember that? I know you've been running against Justin Trudeau and the carbon tax, but I'm not Justin Trudeau. Surprise. Different person. We're going to do things differently. We're going to do things differently, he says. Well, we don't believe that. And we then found out from a reporter who works in Parliament Hill with National Post, laid out some hard-hitting truth on Rosemary Barton's Sunday Scrum Show this morning.
You know, the Liberal platform, frankly, that's something I will say that has been ready for several weeks now. Mona Fortier was the one who was working on this, and it was ready before Mark Carney even became Liberal leader. So, you know, he only had to tweak a couple of things.
And again, it's a National Post reporter, so you can grab that for what it is, but she's speaking truth because there's other people on the panel that didn't oppose what she was saying. So you can likely take that to the bank that that's been worked on several weeks. They've been working on this plan, even before Carney became leader. Listen to this again. Fascinating.
You know, the Liberal platform, frankly, that's something I will say that has been ready for several weeks now. Mona Fortier was the one who was working on this, and it was ready before Mark Carney even became Liberal leader. So, you know, he only had to tweak a couple of things. You know, the Liberal platform, frankly, that's something I will say that has been ready for several weeks now. Mona Fortier was the one who was working on this, and it was ready before Mark Carney even became Liberal leader.
Before Mark Carney was even Liberal leader, this thing's been ready. It goes back to what Toby Lucas said. Sure, Mark Carney seems like a great guy, but it's clear that the party is still in control, and that statement proves it. They had this platform ready before he was even leader. He may have added some tweaks to it, may have added more spending for all we know, because we know how much he loves inflation, which he has said, but it's the same thing. The party is in control. That's why the policies seem the same from Justin Trudeau in 2015 to now in 2025, because the party is in control. They make the rules, they make the policies, they just put the figurehead forward to enact them. Sure, the prime minister might have some input, some tweaks and some differences. But based on this reporting, their platform has been ready for a long time prior to Carney arriving. And it's only going to get worse, and they're only promising worse. That's pretty wild, you got to admit. She mentioned Mona Fortier, who's been in the Liberal Party since 2017. She won in a by-election. So she's been with the Liberal Party, working with the Liberal Party, working as an MP in the Liberal Party for about 8 years now. And she was the one who had a big hand in crafting the platform that Mark Carney released. Same MPs, same cabinet, same policies, even more spending. That is what you're going to get more of. No matter how much I try to tell you it's going to be different. No matter how hard they're going to tell you that it's just Mark Carney. He's an economist. Well, remember that statement I replayed for you? Mark Carney said, "You're not running against Justin Trudeau." Well, Mark Carney plagiarizing yet again because he stole that from somewhere. I couldn't remember where, but then Viva Fry made sure to call it out on X the other day.
I know you want to be running against Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau isn't here.
First of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. First of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
Justin Trudeau isn't here.
That tells you everything you need to know. Do you want more deficit spending? Do you want your dollar to be driven to the ground? Do you want your wages to be depressed? Do you want to have no housing to be able to make and call your own? Because if that's what you want, that's what you'll be getting, voting for a Mark Carney Liberal government. But anyways, enjoy time with family. Enjoy the rest of your Easter. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out.